A little bit about myself before I introduce my speech. My name is Louis Ferris. I'm a senior. This is my first year in ISM, and I chose the topic of study of finance for ISM. And then my quote: "One finds limits by pushing them." Not only describes myself as someone who likes to take on a challenge, but it also describes my initial struggle to pick between either finance or marketing. Initially, I came into ISM thinking that I knew exactly what I wanted to do. Unlike most students are kind of open to all aspects of the program, but I initially came in thinking that I was going to do marketing, and the aspect of marketing that I really liked was the theoretical aspect of it. So it's not very structured. There's no formula or right way to do it. It's very theoretical. It involves a lot of creative thinking. So that was my initial thought. And then after I started getting my interviews and building information and gaining knowledge from actual professionals in the field, I kind of realized that it's much more than that. There is kind of a structure to it. There is a way, there's not a correct way to do it, but there's patterns and things that influence success. So I also interviewed people in the field of finance, which is another area that I was very interested in because my father was in that field. And finance is more of looking at patterns of numbers, analyzing, let's say, like the sales of a company, and then using those patterns to forecast sales in the future. So it was more mathematical. It was very structured. It's kind of, this is how you do it. If you do it this way, you're going to be successful in that field. And my father was a huge influence on me. He started off going to college here in Illinois, and he got a master's degree in business administration. After that, he went into consulting for KPMG. He later on moved on to Bearing Point, another consulting firm, and through that, he got a connection with 7-Eleven, where he transferred into the finance field, and then he got the opportunity to franchise at Pizza Hut. So if it looks like I'm obsessed with Pizza Hut, that's kind of why I am. And then the first thing that we did in ISM that was a major milestone would be the business symposium, because I learned a lot of things from that. I was interviewed by 3 people. I got the opportunity to get interviewed by 3 different people. Jim Nagy, he is executive vice president for GM Financial, which is very cool because he was actually in the field that I was studying. And then Ed Wiest, he's the global channel leader for GE, an electronics company. And then David Rowe, another finance guy. He was in auto finance, so he would work with car dealerships and then work out business plans for them. From each of the interviews, I learned a lot of different things. I learned from Jim Nagy especially. He gave me some constructive criticism. I didn't really notice it at first, but he told me that I was nodding my head a lot. I was very nervous, like my legs were shaking, and he can feel the table moving. So I learned that I had to work on some things, and I thought I was like perfect the first time, so I knew I still had some things to work on. And I also got to follow up with some of these guys. They were calling me and asking me just basically how I was doing in the class, so that was really cool, just building confidence from the professionals. Next were the interviews. Initially, I thought that I was going to do marketing, so I was looking for just marketers, but then as I realized that finance was more of my forte, I found that there's a lot more outlets and a lot more careers that you could do with finance. So I was trying to look for people in investment. I was trying to look for people in finance, like financial advisors, financial managers, and then kind of incorporate all the information that I gather and see where my interests lay. And the first interview I got was with the help of Coach Goff, was Ted Snow, and he's a financial planner at his own financial firm called Snow Financial Group. And basically what he does is he plans out the future for individuals. So if an individual comes with some money, I think it's $250,000 to $2 million is what he works with that amount of equity, he'll basically plan out their retirement, he'll invest money in mutual funds, and basically try to plan out the rest of their life so they don't have to worry about money. And it was a great experience because it was my first interview. I was really nervous. It was like a 45-minute drive, and he made it seem very comfortable, and he was really nice about it. So I learned a lot of great information from him. And I had the opportunity to interview 8 people, So I have a lot of different people that I got various information from. So the second person I interviewed was actually one of my close friends before the ISM program. He's worked with my father. He's a Pizza Hut franchisee as well. And basically what he does is he owns 5 Pizza Huts. He manages them himself. He runs all the data, looks at his sales, forecasts sales for the future, and basically works one-on-one with managers. And that's kind of what I want to do like later on in the future, if not take over my father's job, do something similar to him. So he gave me a lot of great information about how he got to his position, kind of the route that he initially took. He was in engineering, so he ended up transferring to finance during college, and then he found a passion for it after college, and then got to Pizza Hut, worked his way up, and then got the opportunity to franchise stores. Another person that I interviewed was here at the Pizza Hut headquarters. It was Greg Eichholt. He's a real estate manager for Taco Bell, and what he does is basically he distributes land that Taco Bell wants to buy, and then he'll kind of build the foundation and the layout for the stores. So it wasn't necessarily what I wanted to do in the future, but from what he taught me, I learned a lot about real estate, finance, and how they're connected. And he also taught me that that marketing and finance kind of are complete opposites, and that you couldn't really mix the two of them together. So he was kind of the deciding factor between picking one rather than just trying to incorporate both in my ISM journey. And then Pramila, she's very similar to Rash. She's another Pizza Hut franchisee, and she owns 5 stores as well. She manages everything. She analyzes the data and then forecasts future sales. She works closely with the Pizza Hut headquarters. She'll work with the director of finance, the director of marketing, and kind of build plans for the future on her own individual company as well as the whole corporation. And then Ryan Snell, he's a finance director, and he works closely with all the franchisees. What he does is he manages not only the franchisees but also the individual finance team, the marketing team, and the sales team. And what he does is he delegates work basically to 3 managers that basically provide information about sales, the marketing, and the finance for each quarter, and then uses that to present basically a presentation to the vice president of Pizza Hut about his work and what his peers has done. Rich Madison, he works for Ryan Snell. He's in Pizza Hut marketing, and what he does is basically analyzes data about Pizza Hut, how the sales have been. He also works closely with advertisement. So if you see an advertisement, he'll be working with those people in that team, see what works to consumers, how to hit the target consumers correctly, and what has worked in the past, basically to use that in the future. Charlie Short, he's another Pizza Hut guy. He's a business analyst, and he's very similar to Rich. He basically just gathers information. He works in a team of four that basically gathers the information, presents that information to their bosses, and then they use that information to plan for the future. Then John Eckert, this was my favorite interview because he was in customer sales. So he was very, very sociable. He was very easy to talk to, and he's the one that actually drove my interest in Pizza Hut. Not only my dad, but him. I knew him before the interview, so he gave me basically a tour of the Pizza Hut headquarters. He basically showed me all around what each section did and their own individual jobs. So that was a great experience as well. And then noticeable patterns that I learned from each interview. A lot of them, I thought that most of them would say that college was the most important part of their journey, saying that, oh, the college experience is where they knew that they wanted to do either finance or marketing. But a lot of them said that they didn't learn a lot of stuff in college, that they actually learned stuff from their first job. So what they basically told me is, don't go into college thinking that you're going to find your first job after that. Go into college thinking that it's going to be the foundation for your first job, and then from your first job you're going to learn a lot of your bulk of your information. And then they basically, I basically learned a lot from the interviews about the professionals. I mean, I can kind of tell who was shy, who was more outgoing, and that kind of made my decision to pick my mentor kind of easy. Another thing that I want to talk about that I've worked kind of on is LinkedIn, which is a good networking tool for me. I've been able to connect with all my previous interviewers. So every time I interview someone, I've been able to connect with them. And if I ever need to reach out to them, I can always talk to them through LinkedIn. And then they'll just send me a message saying how they're doing or just asking what's up. So it's very helpful. Another thing that we did was a UNT visit. The first class that I went to and visited was business ethics with Mrs. Boyd. And basically what I learned was how the ethical side of business meshed in with the law side of business. So how the laws affected business, how businesses had to kind of conform to the laws and the ever-changing nature of it. And then the second class was very cool with Mr. Sager. It was professional selling. And he basically talked about how he got to his professional status, how he became a professor, and his outside influences. And he basically influenced students to, or encouraged students rather, to basically read other philosophers and other professionals in the field that they're willing to pursue, and just learn from them and kind of take what's good from them and use that in their future. And then the mentor that I chose to ask was Ryan Snell, who's a director of finance. He was very approachable. He was a really nice guy. He was a director of finance, which is the field that I'd like to pursue. So he would be like the dream job that I have currently. We haven't actually talked about the project because we haven't had our first interview after asking to be our mentor. But what I would like to do is kind of work with him and the Pizza Hut marketing team to see how we can establish more efficiency in individual stores in the Dallas area. And then just to reassure that I made the right choice for a mentorship, he kind of reiterated my quote. He said that one finds limits by pushing them, and he kind of said that he wasn't initially comfortable with doing the interview, but after the interview he gained more confidence as well as me. So it just kind of reassured that I made the right choice for a mentor. And then right now I'm just working on my portfolio and my display board for the research showcase, and then I have a little video about the Pizza Hut direction. That's all right.
For centuries, Italians have made it the same way. Tradition is king, change is bad. So when Pizza Hut decided to take pizza where it had never been before, with our new Flavor of Now menu, we wanted the opinions of the original pizza makers. Would Italians be okay with us totally changing pizza?
It's not pizza.
Pizza Hut's 10 new crust flavors really improved pizza, right, Alfonso?
No, Pursuit.
The 6-fold sauces really changed pizza.
Why?
Because it was time for an update.
Why?
So, Carmela, what do you think of the tons of new ingredients? Carmela? What about the delicious new honey sriracha sauce? How about the salted pretzel crust?
Pretzel pizza.
All right. And they showed their reactions to our new ingredients in colorful ways. Oh.
Peruvian chili pepper. Peruvian pepper. Peruvian pepper.
Beyond pizza, we also got their reaction to our super easy-to-use mobile ordering site.
Hello?
And their reaction to other New World topics. Rita, the tweens are all over these jackets.
Thank you.
Can you please take it off? It's called EDM. Great, right? So, Pizza Hut is taking pizza where it's never been before. What do you guys think?
Here's a good
Oh.
bottled up pizza.
Introducing the Flavor of Now menu. Get it at pizzahut.com.